Alright guys, you guys ready? Can you hear me well? Can you see me well? Am I clear? Alright, good. So hopefully we won't have any problems like yesterday. I love that some of you are just playing with Zoom. That's what I do. When I put the logo going on, I see what you guys are doing here just to see what kind of students I have. Jeff was transparent for a few seconds, right? You guys just love playing. Blazhead and Mauricio also played a little bit yesterday, right? All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. Remember, you need to have the cameras on for you to get credit. Very, very important. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I just sent in the chat, in the Zoom chat, I sent you guys the link again to register for the student portal where you guys can find. You're going to be able to find the Quizlet. You're going to be able to find all the resources there, even books. By now, if you registered a couple days ago or yesterday, by now you should have my recommended books in case you guys want to go over these things. But very important that you guys get to the access because, again, the book is there, the PDF book, if you guys don't have it yet. It's there to download, either by chapter or the whole thing, so the whole book. If you want to know how to do your fingerprinting, which we're going to talk about today, it's there. If you want to know about scheduling your state exam, so towards the end of the class, it's there. For some of you, you're finishing this week, so again, information will be there as well. But definitely get to the students' access because that's exactly where I'm going to keep updating with more resources for you guys. You also have a link there for my YouTube channel. In the YouTube channel, you're going to have Q&As. So some of you ask me questions. I turn it into a quick video because the question that, let's say, Michelle has might be the question that Brian has. Does that make sense? So every time you ask me questions, I create a quick video, put it out there for everybody, okay? So make sure, hold on, so I got here, Juliana's asking for the book. It is in the link if you went there, but I'll put it here. That should be the link for the book itself. Okay. All right, so let me know if you guys got the book to download it directly there. But definitely get into the membership site, to the student portal site, because a lot of resources will be there, including these classes. They're being recorded, they're live and recorded. So if the class goes well, like fortunately yesterday it didn't, but if the class goes well, what I'll do is I'll use tonight's class to be chapter 1 and chapter 2 in the student portal. Okay? All right. So moving forward. What I'm going to do right now, because we were just on the second page, unfortunately I had to cancel the class, but what I'm going to do right now is a quick recap of what we went over yesterday. I'm not going to ask you questions, I'm just going to move forward all the way to where we stopped. Is that a deal? Great. So, every time I ask questions, I just make sure you put your thumbs up in case you got it. If you didn't get it, throw me the question in the chat, okay? So, real estate licensing, one of the questions we had, but the way we started was, very simply, who must be licensed, right? Who must be licensed to be part of a real estate transaction? And the key features, what we were looking at is that anyone, right, that is participating in a real estate transaction, very important, for another person, so a third party, not you, right, somebody else. And if it's for a fee, commission, or valuable consideration, they must have a real estate license. So if you expect to get paid or have some type of exchange, like I gave you the example of your parents asking your help to sell the house, and they would give you the car that's in the garage in exchange, right? The car is considered valuable consideration. There's a value to it, right? So you need a license. If you're doing it because you're just helping them out, just because you want to, because they're family, right? So you're helping for free, do you need a license? And the answer is no. All right? Only if you expect some type of compensation do you really need a license. All right? So the next thing that we went over was rules and regulations. We know that they're set by the Real Estate Commission, right? Sorry, let me just change here something. They're set by the Real Estate Commission. Okay, all right. So they're set by the Real Estate Commission, and that is all under the Real Estate License Act, known as Title 45, Chapter 15. And the rules and regulations that are set up by the Commission are known as Title 11, Chapter 5 of the Administrative Code. And I told you guys to write somewhere here, take a note of NJAC 11.5. Because later on, that's what you're going to refer to. Later on in the book, it says NJAC 11.5. And if you guys have any question while practicing, right? You should Google it. Just Google NJAC 11.5, and all these rules and regulations are going to be there, including, which are also included in the end of the book in Appendix B. So if you have the PDF, you can scroll all the way to the back. If you have the physical book, just flip all the way to the back. Again, as I said yesterday, no, Leo, don't Google everything, okay? So if you guys see Leo texting, he's Mr. Google. In the previous class, every question I had, he went to Google. Avoid Google until I tell you to, okay? So I would love to see him take the exam, right? So Leo, do me a favor. The day you schedule exam, let me know. Yes, Giselle, you're laughing at that one. Let me know, because I will be there just to watch and see how you Google in the middle of a state exam. All right, so like I said, don't get too into going through the end of the book and reading the statutes and all that, because it's very technical, right? The way it's worded, the way it's written out. So we're going to cover everything throughout the book and in a simpler way than what's written, okay? So I'll make it as easy as I can for you guys to understand. Now, I did say that the Real Estate Commission is composed of 8 members. But one thing you need to remember, and a lot of people get confused about this, is that the Real Estate Commission is a division right here, a division of the Department of Banking and Insurance. So you're probably thinking real estate, banking, insurance, how can that relate? Well, the Division of Banking and Insurance was already here, and they found the need later on to regulate realtors. Okay, so the licensed salespeople. And instead of creating a whole new entity, they created a division within the agency that regulates the financing of these transactions. Make sense? All right. So it's composed of 8 members. I didn't mention that. But one thing that's important is right here. 5 of these members are real estate brokers and have been licensed as such for at least 10 years. Okay? Again, I'm not going to be asking you guys questions right now until we get to where we were. For those that started today, I'm going at a slow enough pace to be able to pick up. But the brokers, the 5 brokers, right, have to have been licensed, actively licensed for at least 10 years. Actively licensed for at least 10 years. 2 members are chosen from the general public, and 1 represents the Department of the State. Now, out of these 8 members, the first 7, they serve, right here, 3-year terms. That means that every 3 years, they change or they're reelected, depending. But it's 3-year terms. The governmental member serves at the pleasure of the governor. What does that mean? If the governor says, hey, you're here for 1 week, then you're here for 1 week. If it says you're here for 10 years, you're here for 10 years. Got it? But the first 7, so the 5 brokers and the 2 from the public, they represent the people and the salespeople. So the public and the salespeople, but they only serve 3-year terms. We talked about classes of licenses, right? And under classes of licenses, I told you guys that there's 4 licenses. Number one, we have the broker. And every time you see broker by itself, this word broker by itself, we're talking always about the broker of record. Okay? So again, every time you see broker by itself, we're talking about broker of record. Why is this important? Because there's only one broker right here, one person that's the authorized broker for the entire company. There's other brokers. We call those broker salespeople, right? Why? Because you start off as a salesperson, that's what you guys are doing. You start off as a salesperson, and then a few years later, you become a broker, but still working under the broker of record. If you work under the broker of record, then you work as a salesperson, even though you do qualify to become a broker. So what we're saying here is very simple. I had drawn this yesterday, which is every agency has this format. Every agency has this format. There's one person right there that is responsible for the whole company. So one broker of record. All right? And underneath the broker, we could have, let's say, we could have 20 broker salespeople. We can have 100 salespeople. And we can have 10, 15, 30 referral agents. Because these are the 4 types of licenses that we can have within an agency. You guys good so far? Give me a thumbs up if you're good so far. All right, good. So yes, Jasiel, yeah, that's right. So the broker salesperson, see right here, these people, they became brokers because they got it out of the way. I'm going to show you in a little bit. They need 3 years full-time experience in order to become a broker. So you get that out of the way while everything is fresh, while you're still learning. Because the first 3 years, guys, you're still learning. You don't know anything about real estate in the first 3 years. You're learning. You know why? Because there's a whole lot of different transactions. Not every house is the same. Not every deal is the same. Not every mortgage is the same. So you can have a full round experience, does that make sense? By dealing with different things. So you qualify to become a broker, but you're not ready to open your own office. So you still choose to operate as a salesperson under the broker of record. That's all it is, okay? So we all start as salespeople, and then we can move on to broker of record in a few years from now. Now, next thing we had was the referral agent right here. So the referral agent, this guy right here. The referral agent is a license that no longer exists. Now it's salesperson working under a referral company. And I put a reference here as well, that the broker of record is required to now open 2 companies. One is the active agents, right there, and the other one is the referral agents, right here. So under the referral company, you'll be named a salesperson. Under the active company, you'll be named a salesperson. The only difference is we are going to tell you that as a referral agent, all you can do is refer. You guys got it? You need to remember this. Broker of record handles everybody, responsible for everybody. Okay? Salesperson works under a broker. Broker salesperson works under a broker, even though the word broker is there. And referral agent only refers, but also under a broker. All right? Then I also mentioned that all initial, renewed, and reinstated licenses are issued on a biennial term, which expires June 30th right here of odd numbered years. Okay? So I mentioned that next year, even if you get the license in the next couple of months, next year, what must you do? Renew your license. This is for all licenses. It says right there, all licenses. So even if you get a referral license, you have to renew it. Even if you're a month away and you activate your license, which doesn't make sense, but some people do, like a month or 2 months away from renewal, and they decide to activate their license, even at that point, you will pay to activate and pay for renewal. All right? A good broker will tell you, just wait a month. I'll hold on to your license for a month. Why? So we can get on a new term and you don't have to pay double. Make sense? All right? So make sure when you interview brokers, you have people that help you, because that's key. The broker is key for your growth. Because what do you know when you pass the state exam? Absolutely nothing. You know a bunch of words in the book, you learn a few jokes from your instructor, and that's it. All right? What do we have here? So, Ritu, I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, let me know. But Ritu says, do referral agents also get the same salesperson license? So the answer is now, yes, you're called a salesperson regardless. Okay? The difference is whether you're placed in a referral company or you're placed in an active company. If you're placed in a referral company, you are a salesperson that can only refer. If you're placed in an active company, then you're a salesperson that can actively do business and also refer. Your salesperson license allows you to do whatever you want. You can refer or do the deals. Like right now, I don't have much time to do the deals, and I've been saying this for years, so if you've been my student in the past, you'll know this. I don't have much time to do the deals as a realtor, so what do? I refer, and I love the referral business. My market is Newark. I'm going to talk about this several times on how to define the market. I see Tahira just started. She started smiling. Is your market Newark too? Because you're getting kicked out of here real quick. All right, don't compete with me. Just kidding. So, and Connie's agreeing with her. I don't know. All right, this is a tough class. If you're from Newark, disconnect now. This is my market. That's the next thing we're going to talk in a little bit. There's no competition whatsoever. But born and raised, there you go. So what I was saying is that as a referral agent, all you can do is refer. So if you wake up in the morning and say, I want to do a deal today because my neighbor wants to sell and I know somebody that wants to buy. So you have both ends, right? You have the bread, you have the butter, but you don't have the knife. Does that make sense? As a referral agent, you have to bring the bread and the butter to somebody that has a knife that can cut that bread, spread the butter, and boom. All right? So you have them both. What's the point of being a referral agent? Does that make sense? But what I was trying to say is, as a salesperson, active salesperson, Ritu, what I do is I refer businesses that are outside of my area. So if they're outside of Newark, I try to refer first to our agents, whoever works the area that my client wants. And if our agents don't have the expertise in the area or don't want to service the area, I'll find somebody that does service and I'll give it to them. Simple. I make a nice cut out of it without having to do any work. That's why we call the referral agents the lazy license. We don't have to do much of the work. All right? Just want to give a quick note. I see some of you have the cameras off. I cannot account the hours if your cameras are off. Just letting you know. All right? The next thing, statistics. I did mention yesterday as a quick reference that in 2017, and it hasn't changed much since, probably another 13, 14,000 brokers, broker salespersons, and referral agents added. Not that much. But I did mention that this is not competition to anyone, right? So if all of you, right now I have 43 of you here on this. Some of you will never do a deal. Some of you will do one deal and think that's it. Their life is set and done, and they'll relax. Some of you will say, oh, the real estate is not for me. So it's an active license, but you quit real estate. Others will say, not now, right? So these are things that really happen. So there's 43 of you here. If 10 of you actively work the Newark market, there's still no competition. Does that make sense? All right? Because then comes the other point. What makes you better than the person next to you? What makes you better than me or me better than you? It becomes a popularity contest. How popular are you? How easily can you bring the message across to a person that needs to sell or needs to buy? Does that make sense? So it's about connecting. That's right, Mauricio. The only competition is yourself. So you guys need to understand that. You're not a competition to me, the same way I'm not a competition to you. And it doesn't matter how many years I've been doing this. You guys can start. I had a student. Can Kelly, she was amazing. The first month being licensed, she already had 3 offers placed. First month. In the second month, she was getting a listing. Fell through, but I think she was able to get other deals after that. But I'm just letting you know, first month. I have a lot of students that in the first year, and I can only talk about my students or agents that I know that came from other schools or work in different agencies. But I have a lot of students that in the first year have not done one single deal. I have one agent in our office, has been licensed for 3 years, renews his license, but never made one deal in New Jersey. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So, you think there's competition? The answer is no, none whatsoever. All right? So that was just statistics. Blas says, gift of gab. Well, I guess you can call it gift of gab. Some people, I will tell you right now, I know an agent that if you look at this guy, you would never say that he's good at what he does. Because he's an introvert. And by the way, I'm an introvert. Here, while on stage, and I call this the stage, right? While on stage, I'm so comfortable that I can put the message across, whatever I need. It's so easy for me. Comes out, just flows, right? But if you see me on the streets, I will not be the first one to start the conversation. I'll find other ways, and I'll teach that to you as we go. I'll find other ways to start the conversation without really starting a conversation, right? And this way, it's not about the gift of gab, it's about who starts what. You have to bring people, so sales 101, I'm just giving you right now. Sales 101, you have to bring people to ask you for stuff. Because if you're the one asking for them to do something, or if they want something, or if they need something, right, then you already lost your sale. You're hitting them what's called a cold lead or cold market. But if they ask you, then you went from a warm to hot market. Does that make sense? They're ready to go. So you have to put yourself in a position where people ask you, what do you do? And then it's when you ask, how can I help you? You got it? But not the gift of gab, it's really the gift of putting somebody in a position where they need you. Make sense? All right. So, next, David, just learning how to close. All right. With that being said, Boiler Room. Guys, watch the movie Boiler Room. Ben Affleck. ABC rules, very simple. Always be closing. You're either selling or being sold on something. So watch that movie. I'm not going to reference anymore so I can move forward. But it's a great movie for you to understand that every single thing that happens, I'll talk about this later, every single thing that happens in your life is a sale. You got friends, the sale happened. You expressed to them why they needed you, and they expressed to you why you needed them. There was a sale, right? If you're married, if you're in a relationship, there was a sale, right? Simple. There's always, if you got kids, like I always say, if you got kids, it's always a sale. Every single conversation with your kids is a sale. Come on, do this and I'll give you that, right? If you don't do this, then this is what's going to happen. So there is a sale happening there, and usually they win. Michelle, yes, Boiler Room. I asked yesterday if you guys came here to this class to get your realtor's license, right? And for those of you that were already here yesterday, you know the answer. For those that were not, then I have to, leave you a little disappointed today. There is no realtor license, right? Because we already addressed the 4 licenses that exist. We said broker, salesperson, and referral license, right? That's it. Those are the only 4 licenses that exists, right? Technically down to 3 now, right? So the term realtor or realtor associate simply means that you're part of this association. It's called the National Association of Realtors. And this is like a union, okay? This is like a gym membership or a club that we all go to, okay? No problem, Shaisha. All right, so you guys understand what I'm saying? Once you become salespeople, you're now eligible to be part of this group. It's like being part of an elite circle, a club where you get a lot of benefits. And I'll talk about that in chapter 3 tomorrow. There's a lot of advantages to being part of it. All right. The other thing that we went over, and again, I'm trying to go over this section as quick as possible so we can continue where we were. The other thing that we went over was the activities covered. Like, why do we need a broker's license? Why do we need a salesperson license? For what type of activities? And I think this is where more or less where we froze yesterday a couple of times, right? We're doing good so far. No freezing so far. So activities covered. It says right here that you need a broker's license to do what? Pay attention. It says to list real estate for sale, you need your license, a broker's license, not salesperson, a broker's license. On top it says to sell, exchange, buy, auction, or rent real estate, to collect rent, to solicit prospective purchasers or sellers, to negotiate a real estate loan, to sell lots or other parcels for a developer, or sell business opportunities that involve real estate, or attempt to do any of the above. So if you attempt to do any of these, you must be a broker. So none of you right now is getting your broker's license. You're getting a salesperson license. So what are you entitled to do? With none of these, what are you entitled to do? And it says right here. I stopped here because it's very, very important. Yesterday I stopped here and I'll stop again. A salesperson license, remember, you're under the broker of record, right? Because they sponsor you to do your business. Without a broker, you cannot operate, okay? So you're under the supervision of that broker, and you're going to assist them in negotiating the purchase, sale, or exchange of real estate, negotiating real estate loans, also leasing, renting, and collecting rent, and selling lots or other parcels for a developer. And this is where we stopped yesterday. I asked you guys to analyze the current bullet points for a salesperson, compare them to the bullet points for a broker, and what was missing. What do you guys thought? Now I want you to participate again, please. Go into the chat. What do you guys think that, or thought it was something that you as a salesperson would do, but it's not in your list, but you can find that in the broker's list. So let me show you broker again. Broker starts with listing real estate for sale. What they can also do is sell, exchange, buy, auction, rent real estate, collect rent, solicit prospective purchasers or sellers, negotiate a real estate loan, sell lots or other parcels for a developer, or sell business opportunities that involve real estate. And for a salesperson, this is what we can do. All right? David, that's not on the list, but that's a good one. It'll be for the next chapter. Solicit. Solicit what, guys? It says right here. We can negotiate the purchase, sale, or exchange of real estate. So that's part of soliciting. Okay? Somebody said selling and buying. Well, here's the thing. We don't sell, we don't buy. The seller sells, the buyer buys. We mediate. We're the ones in the middle. We broker. Okay? All right, there you go. I have Amada, right? List property. Okay? Brian, listing property as well. Mimi, listing property. Here's the thing. A lot of agents think they're the ones listing the property. Right? Because you knock on that door, right? You go knock on that door and say, hey, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, would you like to sell? Yeah, we do that, guys. It's us. We're the ones knocking on that door. Absolutely. On behalf of our broker, because we're assisting the broker in that negotiation. Do you guys understand? But once we put on the market, if you work for a Remax, for instance, then it's a Remax listing. All right? It's a Remax listing. It's not a Joshua listing. It's not a Victoria listing. It's not a Catherine listing. No. It's a Remax listing. Do you guys understand? You are called the listing agent because you're the one that brought the listing to the office. But all of your activities, you need to understand this very clearly. And over the next few chapters, that's what we're going to go over. all of your activities are on behalf of your broker, under the supervision of your broker, and getting paid by your broker only. So you don't do anything except through your broker. The broker doesn't knock on doors, you do. The broker does not prepare contracts, you do. They'll show you how, they'll guide you to it, but you're the one doing it on their behalf. You guys got it? And for that, you guys get paid very highly. The broker takes a small percentage, and they pay you a high percentage of the deal, because you're the one that went after all these deals. Good? Thumbs up? Great. Let me see here what we got. Mauricio, we're the boots on the ground. There you go. Leslie says, so page 2. Oh, okay, that was to answer. Great. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate it. Jeff, show professional expertise in market knowledge to the client. Absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do. We're going to talk about that tomorrow when we talk about what agency means and what being an agent for somebody actually means. All right? So we're going to talk about duties, what you should do. It's called COLD, care, obedience, accounting, loyalty, and disclosure. These are things you have to have when representing somebody. But that's coming tomorrow. All right. You're also entitled to handle, let's say, mobile homes, but now that falls into to motor vehicle commission as well, so you need to know real estate rules and motor vehicle rules. Totally up to you, whatever your niche is going to be, go ahead. Now, I'm going to stop here several times. I'm going to stop here at this word because it's going to show up several times, exemptions or exceptions. Several times throughout the book, it talks about that. Every law, except a few that I'm going to mention later, but every law has what? An exemption or exception. And what does that mean? I'll address those questions in a second, okay? So I see David, I see Jeff, and then David again. I'll address that in a second. So I told you that you need a license for real estate, right, to participate in real estate transactions, but there are instances where you don't need a license. And you need to know these instances because I can guarantee you there's going to be a question around this. All right? So a real estate license is not required for owners handling their own property. We covered this yesterday. And we covered this today right in the beginning, in the recap, right? If it's your property, then you're not selling for another party. If you make profits, it's different than making a fee, commission, or valuable consideration, correct? It's my property. Do I need a license? No. That's why we call these unrepresented sellers, we call them for sale by owners or FSBOs. All right? For sale by owners or FSBOs. Next, also you need to know, Michelle, you got younger for a second. What happened? Oh, she's back. All right. Right? Michelle went like 3-year-old in a second. You need to be, we're going to go over this, Michelle. You need to be 18 years of age or older. Just saying. So, here's the thing. It says, attorneys. You need to know this one. We're going to talk about it also in chapter 20. Attorneys, executors, trustees, receivers, administrators, legal guardians, and others. Look what it says right here. Under the order of a court. Okay? If the judge appointed you to help somebody sell, then it's a judge order. It's not you trying to get out of your way and getting paid for it. Does that make sense? The judge appointed you to make that sale. If the judge says so, I'm doing it. That's what it is. But if you were not appointed by a judge, you need a license. Okay? So if you're an attorney, if you're an executor of a will, okay, somebody died and has a last will and testament and they appointed you. If you're a trustee, right, for a bank or insurance company, a receiver in a foreclosure, or if you're an administrator, that means somebody died without a will and the court appointed you, right, or legal guardians, and you were ordered by the court to help, then that's what it is, okay? You don't need a license. And this is where it gets tricky for some of you when you read the question later on. banks and trust companies, and insurance companies. All right, so what I need you to remember is that I'm going to talk so many times about brokers, and only the broker can do this, only the broker can do that, that you might have a question where they throw in insurance broker. Now, an insurance broker is not a real estate broker. Are they exempt of not needing a license, or do they need a license? They need a license. You guys got it? Being an insurance company is different than being an insurance broker. But in your mind, once you see broker, you already ignore the insurance. Oh, this person's already licensed, so this is not the answer. You got it? The answer is insurance broker. They're not exempt from the license. Okay, so I'm just giving you a heads up. It's a few things I told you yesterday, and for the ones that joined today, I'm going to trick you several times to show you how the exam is. And they put these things in such a way that if you're not reading correctly, right, that you will fail. I'll show you in a second. Just one letter changes the whole meaning to everything. All right, so let me address the questions real quick. David says marketing is separate from listing. Well, it depends on how you want to see it, because a listing is when we put something for sale, and when we put something for sale, we're marketing it, aren't we? So are we talking about advertising is different from listing? Because that's different. Listing we put on the MLS. We're marketing the property on the MLS. Advertising will be flyers, will be social media, will be phone calls, so calling direct leads or indirect leads, whatever. So that will be advertising, but all of it involves marketing. You got it? Next question. Jeff, what's the class schedule? It's in the portal. Yes. So the class schedule is in the portal, guys. We are 1 day behind because of what happened yesterday. We were supposed to be on chapter 3. So for those of you that started today, it's great because we get to do the whole chapter for you. So makes it easier. Next. David, the broker lists, but we respond. I guess I just answer for that. The listing is actually made on behalf of the agency, so the brokerage, Remax Listing, right? We're the ones that put it on the MLS, so we're the ones that list the property, but again, on behalf of. Remember, it's not your listing, you're the agent, so on behalf of. And then the marketing, yes, you're responsible for the marketing. Some agencies will help you and support you with certain tools, right? So at reduced cost or even no cost, in order to be able to broadcast your marketing or efficiency in marketing, okay? But not all agencies do this. Rishi, he says that an attorney doesn't need a real estate license. No, my friend, an attorney, because they handle real estate or they had some type of course or experience in real estate, they might not need a license at all. But if they do engage, if they do engage in daily activities, right? Actually, we have right here. If they do engage in daily activities of brokering real estate, now they need a license. Okay, so they're exempt while it's their normal practice, while they're involved in a transaction like a divorce, a court handling a court proceeding, or insurance. They represent the insurance company or the bank. They don't need a license in that instance. But if it becomes their daily activities, then yes, they need a license. Okay, that's what it says right here. Nanette, how is the insurance broker? Insurance broker is not exempted, but the insurance company is. The broker is an individual. Let's start there. Insurance company, sometimes through foreclosure, right, or through certain actions that, let's say there's no mortgage, but the homeowner defrauded the insurance wants to make sure that they can recover the property before there's damage. So they might enforce certain statutes where they'll go to court against you and say, hey, to get paid, or whatever the situation might be, we want to sell this. If it's a bill that's unpaid, if it's I don't know. There's several situations where it could happen, where there's something pending, and they can force the sale. But as long as they have some type of interest in the property as well, yes. So, but insurance broker, who do we represent? The insurance company. We don't represent the transaction, okay? Next. And right here, this is probably, I always say this is the most important part of the book. So after you read this line, you can just close the book and I'll see you in a couple of weeks to do the exam, because this is the only part that really matters, right? The only part that matters is payment for services, right? Does anything else matter? Of course not. We don't care about the clients or the customers. We just care about getting paid. That's why you guys are here, right? Connie says yes to everything. Yes to Newark. Yes to getting paid. All right. Okay. So here's the deal. You need to know who's entitled to get paid. Okay? If you are not licensed at the time that the service is performed, can you get paid? The answer is no. It says to collect a commission, one must be licensed at the time that the service is performed. So let's say we're at renewal. Your license renews tonight, right? You have a closing tomorrow. If you do not renew tonight, if you did not pay yet, can you collect your commission on everything you worked hard for tomorrow? The answer is no. You guys got it? So make sure you keep your license active, even if you don't do anything. But let's say, hey, you refer the deal and all of a sudden that deal happens to close, right? There's referrals where, they saw a property, saw another property, saw another property, and then they gave up. I just had somebody from like 6 or 7 months ago come back on the market. Hey, okay, now it's time. Let's go buy, right? 6 months later or 7 months later, right? So that was a referral to me. Are you guys understanding this? If your license is not active and all of a sudden this client comes back to me, how can my broker pay you? They can't. I mean, I win because I make more money. Your broker wins because they make more money. And you lose because you make no money. All right? So the fees are very minimal. So keep your license active. We're going to go over the fees, and we're going to go over the requirements every 2 years. So just keep it active. I mean, the cost is, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous for you to let your property, your license go. Let's put it like that. One deal, even a rental deal, could pay for everything. So keep that in mind. Now, obviously, if your license must be active when you close the deal, then it is illegal. This sentence makes it illegal for anyone to share a portion of the commission without a real estate license. So if you refer business to me, can I pay you? The answer is no. Simple as that. And yesterday I mentioned that your first deals are probably going to come from family or friends, or maybe not at all. Friends or family might say no unless you give me something. Well, how can I give you something? You get licensed. Simple. Next, I don't have this highlighted here, but I will address later on. But look right here. This is important, this section. Again, it's not highlighted, but it's important. Which is for you to understand that only a broker can pay you. We know this. But the broker also can only share commission with his associates. So later on, there's going to be a question that says that anybody can get paid. Any salesperson can get paid by the broker. Any? No. His salespeople. You see how poor choice of words could change everything? Any? No. His associates can get paid. Remember this. Or another answer that could be there is if it's a cooperative listing, meaning you listed and somebody brought the buyer, then your broker pays their broker and the broker is split with the agents. Or if it's a referral, including a broker who's licensed in another state. So if I send business down to Florida, or if I send business to New York, or you know what, send business down to Atlantic City, so here in Jersey, who can get paid? The brokers. And then who pays you? Your broker pays you, right? And my broker pays me. You guys understand this? Very, very important that you understand this concept. Broker can only pay whoever, like these 20, 110 people within the agency. If you're from a different agency, let's say if you're from Remax, right? Jeff, I'm going to put you here, okay? So I got Jeff with Remax. He's smiling. That's where he wants to go. Just kidding. So let's say he refers business to me, right? My broker will accept the business and pay Jeff's broker. Okay? Jeff cannot get paid directly from my broker or from me. Got to be clear about this. My broker can only pay his associates. I'm repeating this, and I'm going to listen, it's going to sound like a broken record, but there's a lot of things I need to repeat. The first 3 chapters hold roughly 30% of the exam. The first 3 chapters hold roughly 30% of the exam. Chapter 3, tomorrow's chapter, has 22 questions in the state exam. And state exam, before you start typing, the state exam is 110 questions. I'm going to address that in a second. Okay? But chapter 1, 2, and 3 are the core of everything. So if you don't get chapter 1, 2, and 3, you already pretty much lost the battle. Okay? So make sure you understand these chapters. Now, I said that to be paid, it says right here on top, to be paid, you must be licensed at the time that the service is performed, correct? Is that what I said? Yes, right? Just want to confirm you guys are with me. But then I also said earlier that there are exemptions to the law, right? So every rule or every law has an exemption. Guess what? Right here. One exception, this is a 2009 law that went into effect in 2010, in early 2010, allows pay attention to this, allows a selling broker to rebate part of the commission to the buyer in the form of either a credit or a check. So we're going to stop here for a second. We're saying that a selling broker can rebate. What is a rebate? It's like a discount, like a certificate, right? You go to buy something at a restaurant and you have a rebate. Hey, here's $20 rebate or $20 certificate. So you pay less for that bill. Does that make sense? Here's the same thing. The selling broker is giving money back to the buyer or reducing his commission to the buyer in the form of either a credit or a check at the time of closing. This is not up front, this is at closing, okay? What I want you to understand is this right here, where it says selling broker. I want you to put a note like this, because a selling broker is a buyer's broker. All right? So if I list the property, I'm a listing broker. Okay? If tomorrow, if you bring a buyer, you are the selling broker, because you're the one accomplishing the sale. You guys understand? I'm the listing broker. I'm the advertising broker. I'm the marketing broker. Because what I did was put a property for sale. But properties don't sell themselves. You need to bring a buyer. Whoever brings a buyer is the buyer's broker and is also called the selling broker. Take a note on this. There's listing broker represents a seller. Selling broker represents the buyer. A lot of people get confused on this because, well, if it's selling broker, then selling seller, right? No. It's the one that accomplishes a sale. How is a sale accomplished? When you find a buyer that's ready, willing, and able to buy this property. Is that clear? Thumbs up? Okay. If you have any questions, throw in the chat, okay? I cannot see everybody, so I'm always skipping. I have like 25 of you here on the screen, and I'm always skipping screens. to see what you guys are doing. It is recording all of you, so just to let you know, it's recording all of you. But I can't see everybody. So thumbs up, great for the ones I see. For the ones that I don't see, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. David, they really want to mess with our heads with this one. Yep. It is tough when they throw selling broker, right? And you don't represent the seller. Yeah, it is tough. Selling broker represents the buyer. You're going to see this a bunch of times, okay? All right. Moving forward. We're going on page 3. Yep, Courtney, selling broker is the buyer's broker. Because, Courtney, that's the person that accomplishes the sale, okay? Catherine, you make me hungry. You're making me hungry right now. What you reading? Throw me some on the camera. All right. There's always somebody. David last time he was eating, what was it, ribs, right? I think, David, you were eating ribs. Watermelon. Watermelon, that would be great. It was chicken, yes. I said ribs last time and it was chicken. You said that. That's right. Right on camera. He's enjoying it. He's like licking his fingers, and I'm like, all right, I'll drink my water. It's not easy to be here speaking at this time, hungry, starving. At least when you guys come to class, I always have somebody bringing me something. Here, it's tough. So you guys know it's 18 Oliver Street, in case you haven't seen it below. If you want to send anything, it's Suite 302. Send it to Bruno at New Direction School. Delivery, I appreciate it. Just kidding. All right. Got us. Listen, pizza. Did you read the comment above yours there? Look at the comment above yours. Just look at that. Jonathan, you the man. Love it. Send me some lobster. There you go. All right. Real quick, right here. Right here, it says finder's fees. What are finder's fees? Well, if you recruit people to find you deals, then they are what's called bird dogging, right? They're the bird dogs. If you guys don't know what a bird dog is, when you go hunting, you bring a dog, right? And you send out that dog to find where the bird fell. So to find your deal, we call them bird dogs. So if your family and friends are going to become your bird dogs, let's say, they're the ones finding you deals. And what do they ask for it? The finder's fee. Getting paid something. But I think we already learned, guys, that if they're unlicensed, right? If they're unlicensed, can they get paid? The answer is no. Okay? So let me ask you again, guys, and I want you guys to write in the chat. Okay, there's 45 of you here. I want you to write in the chat, please. If you're not licensed, can you get paid? Write in the chat the answer. Thank you. There you go. Coming in quick. Love it. Okay. Perfect. Nope. Nope. Just yell. Nope. All right. Next thing. Here's one more question. Who can pay you? Write in the chat. Who can pay you? Perfect. Broker. All right. So at least the first half of the chapter you guys already passed. We're good to go. All right. Next thing. We're going to talk about unlicensed assistants, what they can do and what they cannot do. Now, you know that every office has unlicensed assistants, where it's secretaries, assistants, management, right? They could be unlicensed. They could be licensed as well, but most of the times they're unlicensed. There are things that they can do and things they can't. So these people, if they're unlicensed, they're not allowed to perform activities that require a license. And in general, these prohibited activities are those involving contact with clients or customers. So we need to keep your assistants away from the customer. So no direct contact with the customer. And I'll explain why in a second. Let's figure out what they cannot do. So pay attention. It says may not. What they may not do. Your assistant cannot show property. Your assistant cannot answer questions about listed property. Your assistant cannot make cold calls by phone or in person seeking business from potential listers, purchasers, tenants, or landlords. Your assistant cannot discuss or explain a contract or any other real estate document with anyone outside the firm. So everything within the firm, right? They cannot make telephone calls for rent collection, or, pay attention to this one, except when accompanying a licensee. Or except when accompanying a licensee. So that means one of us needs to be there with the assistant. Without us, they cannot host open houses, promotional booths, distribute promotional material, or attend a home inspection. My question to you guys, I ask this every class, and I want you guys to answer. What is so wrong? What is so wrong about hosting an open house? Having your assistant there? Because people, don't answer yet, because people in an open house, what do? It's open. They walk in, they walk out. If they like, they take a flyer, they get a contact, whatever, they move out, right? If it's an inspection, the inspector is the one that walks in and out. You're just there waiting for them and getting their report. Or distributing promotional materials, literally, hey, here's a flyer, there's a 2-family for sale over here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath per floor, and so on. It's just promotional material. Guys, hit me up. What is so wrong about your assistant, unlicensed assistant, doing this? Linda says you can get sued for false information. Leslie says sued if given wrong info. Erica says she can kill the deal for lack of information. They can give Courtney unwarranted information. There you go. Incorrect. Give personal opinion. Absolutely. May jeopardize a sale. They could share personal information about the owners. Great. Absolutely. They're not equipped. Shakia says they're not equipped to fully answer questions. Buyers may want the assistant to handle their transactions. Possibly. And Jeff says any false information can be levied against you and the firm for lawsuit and the licensure to protect and cover charges. All right. So here's the thing. Everybody gets sued, but especially you because you're the one responsible for them, or your broker, the one responsible, okay? But you have to think about it this way. You guys are all correct. I usually give a quick example, which is in an open house, right? People walk in, and if they like the house, what is the first question they ask? If they really, really like the house, what do you guys think is the first question that somebody asks? The price? Not really. That's already listed in the open house. They already know. Mimi, perfect. Why are they selling? Such a great house. Why, oh why, are they selling? Okay, that's the main question. Because the price traditionally is already in the open house advertisement, right? So they won't ask that much. They start with why. And if your assistant knows about the deal, and I'll tell you right now, your assistant usually, traditionally knows more about the deal than you do, because your job is to go out there and hunt more deals, while your assistant is dealing with the actual deals. What is the reason they're selling, right? And if your assistant goes like, well, I heard they're going through a nasty divorce. The moment your assistant opened his or her mouth to say divorce, you're pretty much hindering the whole transaction. Why? Because now the buyer will offer way less just to be a quick deal, right? So it's a benefit to the buyer, but you're hurting the seller, which is who you represent. Do you guys understand? So this is a quick example of ways that your assistant could screw up the deal just by giving extra information that's not needed, okay? So what direction does the sun come from? I don't think that would be a question, but I like that one, Courtney. What direction does the sun come from? It might be a question. You know what? Especially if they have, since you brought that up, especially if they have, if they're intent on installing solar panels, that's actually a great question because you need to know. It was Rishi. Rishi put that. I didn't even see that, and you just wrote it. Okay, so yeah, man, it had to be you. Sorry, Courtney. I have to give props to them. It is a great question, though. So as I was saying, if you intend to put a solar panel there, then it is a question to be asked because if there's not enough exposure, then it's not desirable to put a solar panel. So where does the sun come from? Let's look at it. How long is it going to stay up here in this direction? But no, it will not be the primary question in an open house. All right. So we already figure out, guys, we figure out what your assistant cannot do. How about we figure out what they can do? Because I believe assistants are very, very helpful. And once you go through this list that we're going to go over, you'll understand why. They can answer and forward calls. They can process and submit listings and changes to the multiple listing system. They can place signs on properties, pick up keys, and deliver documents. Schedule appointments for showing listed property, set up files, track and secure documents. Only under the direction of the licensee. They can have keys made for company listings, write and place ads, type contract forms, order items for inspections, prepare flyers and other promotional material, keep records of and deposit security deposits and rent, follow up on loan applications, and compute commission checks. Now, if you guys notice here, there's a lot of stuff that you can outsource. Doesn't have to be you. Your job, remember, you're salespeople. So your job is to do what? Find buyers, find sellers. You leave the clerical part of it to your assistant, right? And compensate them properly, obviously. But here's the thing, scheduling appointments. If they did not schedule my appointments, I'll be completely lost, right? Set up files and track and secure documents. Look at this one. Write and place ads so you don't have to do the advertisement. Type contract forms. They have the customer information, right? Somebody puts an offer, let them know right away, hey, prepare a contract on property 1020 Broad Street under, let's say, under who? Under Brian's name. Brian's putting an offer for $300,000. And your assistant starts preparing the contract. So instead of you wasting an hour or two preparing the contract, which doesn't take that long, but some people, for some reason, it takes long, right? So I'll leave it at that, an hour or two. Instead of you doing it, your assistant could prepare it and you just revise it later. Does that make sense? So you don't have to run to the office, oh, I got to put in an offer. You don't have to. You can have your assistant prepare that for you, and as soon as you get to the office, or you got another deal, or they send it to you by email, because now everything is electronic, then you can review what they've prepared, advise them of any changes while you move on to the next deal, to the next potential client. Does that make sense? All right. So assistants are great. They can order the items or inspections, so you don't have to be on the phone ordering inspection. Prepare your flyers. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to have one assistant. Yes, Blas. So an assistant can basically assist. Yes. So you don't have to have one assistant. For instance, you can have a service to answer and forward calls, because you'll get to a point, hopefully, you'll get to a point where you get so many calls that you're going to be so busy that you can't answer the phones, right? Isn't that where we want to get to? All right, very good. So you can get, a VA, a virtual assistant could do that part. Process, submit listings. Place signs on properties. Unfortunately, a virtual assistant cannot, but you can have somebody else drop off the signs, pick up keys, deliver documents, and so on. I mean, so many things that they can do for you. Very helpful. Your job, guys, you know what? do me a favor. Here's another thing I want you to put in the chat. I want to put in the chat how much you think you're worth right now, an hour. Whatever you're doing. If it's your job, if you're getting 25 an hour, if you're getting 50 an hour, 100 an hour, or if you think you're worth 200, 500, 1,000, write it down. Be honest. You don't have to tell me what your job is paying you now, but what I want you to tell me is what do you think you're worth right now? Put it there. 400 an hour, David? Leo, you're not Google. Blas, 100 an hour. Brian says 1,000. Tara says priceless. Love it. All right. 45, 500, a lot. Okay, that's a good answer. 55 says Dimitar. Okay, Courtney, 200. Jonathan, 50. Jeff, 250. Shaish, I have no limit to my worth. All right. I'm out of 200. Tahira, 10K. Is this realistic? Leslie goes, 1,009. Victoria goes, you can't afford me. Excuse you. I'm not hiring, I'm just saying, but okay. Rishi says, whatever Kylie Jenner gets. Well, apparently she was faking it, so check those stories. Julianne says a lot. Ria says depends. Joshua, really? 100 times to the 100 power. We got what? Mauricio, 180. Ninette, 400. All right, cool. Guys, here's the thing. It's not for me. It's not for show. But you need to understand how much you're worth or how much you think you're worth or how much you want to be worth. Does that make sense? Because until you define that, your job defined it for you. So if you're working for somebody and they're paying you $12 an hour, that's how much you're worth because you allowed yourself to be worth 12, right? If you have a job that pays you $50 an hour, that's how much your job said you're worth. Now in this business, in real estate business, how much can you be worth? Whatever you want. Does that make sense? I think you should look at how many hours it's going to take to complete a deal. And I'll tell you right now, a deal on average will take anywhere between 6 to 10 hours to complete. 6 to 10 hours. Now you're going to spend maybe 2-3 hours in the first couple of days looking at different properties. But then everything else is preparing contracts, is sending a quick email, a quick phone call. So if you put it all together, it's 6 to 10 hours per deal, right? I don't know how many hours you work now a day, but if it's 8 hours a day, you're within that range, right? How much do you get paid? Right? Don't tell me, don't answer. But how much do you get paid for those 8 hours for the day? Imagine if you had a deal completed every day, right? It doesn't happen. It could happen, but it doesn't happen like that. What I'm trying to show you is that a 3 to 4 month process, takes roughly 6 to 10 hours. What are you doing with the rest of the hours? All right, let's put it right there. What are you doing with the rest of the hours? All right, because 3 to 4 months, the average commission is a little bit over $6,000, right? It could be, this is based on $300,000 house. We know where the house values are now in certain areas, right? But $300,000 house, you make $6,300 in 3 to 4 months. Divide that per month. Is that worth it? Is that worth real estate? Getting this license? No. So you have to get more deals in play. You have to hustle, right? So you have to make sure you're getting as many deals as you can so that those effective 6 to 10 hours make you worth $1,000 an hour, for instance. Is that clear? You need to define how much you want to make an hour. And how do you do that? By being efficient at your marketing and completion of the transaction. All right? Again, I cannot train you on that. I won't be able to train you on that in this class. Your broker, once you complete and get your license, your broker is supposed to train you on real estate transactions and how to be more efficient in those transactions by using different tools that they'll provide to you. But again, it's very, 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 very important you understand having assistance. And again, not one assistant, several assistants. I have somebody that does design for me, somebody that handles the website for me, somebody that will handle calls for me, and stuff like that. All right, you don't have to do everything yourself. Your job is to hunt deals. In the beginning, guess who's going to do everything? You are. Because if you don't know how to do it, how can you teach somebody to do the things you need them to do? Right? So in the first year or two, maybe 3 years, it's you, and you. But as soon as you can, this is called an upgrade, getting an unlicensed assistant to help you. All right? That's when you evolve to the next level. Yep, Tahir, that's when you can scale your business. Absolutely. What do we got here? Jeff says, does your broker have an issue with you bringing your own deals to the table as an investor? Look, every brokerage is different, like I said. So Jeff, what's going to happen a lot of times is you're going to have brokers that say the split is the same. Like if we're at 70-30, any deal that you bring, you still have to give 30 to the brokerage. Some of them will say, the split's 70-30, but because it's your own deal, we'll do 9-10. So 90-10. So that means the agency, because you're still using under the umbrella, you're still using the services of the agency and resources of the agency to market, you still need to pay something. Other agencies, they charge you a fee per month, so they don't care of paying you 100%. They're just charging you fees, right? So every agency has their own structure, and you have to find the one that you're most comfortable with based on your goals and your activities. But at the end of the day, what I always talk about is finding a broker that provides guidance. Find a broker that provides training. Don't look so much at commission, but look at somebody that's going to be there for you in every step of the way. If it's a deal as an investor, make sure they work with you. If they don't work with you, then I think you're in the wrong place. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Mauricio, I'm not sure the broker is getting his percentage, but when you bring them anything, it is now theirs. I'm sorry, I got lost for a second. You were talking about the investor? You're replying to Jeff? Okay. So yeah, it depends on the broker. Some brokers, so you guys know, which is, as far as I know, it's illegal unless your contract strictly stipulates this. Some brokers force you, any real estate deals must go through the office. If it's your own personal deal, I already told you, you don't even need a license to sell your own house. Now, is it beneficial to sell through the agency? I just said so because you use the resources like the MLS, right? And the whole marketing tools that's available for you from the agency, including all the other agents trying to sell your property. So think about those things. I still believe everything should go through the agency because of exposure. For sale by owners, they just stay there. Just saying. All right? Moving forward. What do we got? It's now 6:53. So, license qualifications. Where's Michelle? Right there. Michelle and Brian, listen, we got to talk, man. Here's the thing. If you're not 18, you cannot be here. Didn't I address that? All right, I told you have to leave. So I'm just saying. You got a little one running around. Careful. She cannot get licensed yet. I see what they're doing. They're getting the daughter ready to, like, hey, puppy eyes, get this house sold. That's what she's going to do. Like, please. All right? All right, cool. She has a fake ID? That's what it is? Okay. Yes, Francis, you have to leave, unfortunately. All right, so 18 years of age or older, these are the qualifications. You need to prove high school education or its equivalent. So you have a GED, that's great. Jeff, I know, kids are the best salespeople ever. All right? Just know how to use them without getting in trouble, just saying. Speaking of which, you need to furnish good evidence of good moral character. Yeah, put your kids out there, right? Good moral character. Next. You need to complete 75 hours of pre-licensing course, which is what you guys are doing right now, 75 hours. You need to disclose your social security number for child support enforcement purposes. You need to provide documentation of citizenship or legal residence. If you know anybody that has an employment authorization card and they have a social, they don't need to have the green card yet. As long as they have the EAD and they have the a social, they can start getting their license already, and they can start working as a licensed realtor, salesperson already, even while pending their status. Okay. Next, you need to pass a state examination, and we're going to stop right here for 1 second. All these are important, but the most important of all, look, I have in green, not because it's going to be a state exam question, it might, but because if you don't do this right here, what it says right here, be sponsored by a licensed broker, then what was the point of the 75 hours? What was the point of passing an exam? Just to prove to yourself that you can get back to school and that you can endure the 75 hours and able to pass an exam? For some people, that's it, right? But what I want you to know is, if you don't have a sponsoring broker, then you cannot activate your license. So that means that piece of paper that says, congratulations, you passed, means absolutely nothing when it comes to making money. Are you guys understanding this? So, as soon as you pass, what is the first thing you need to do? Run to your sponsoring broker, make sure they sign that paper, you give them what we're going to talk about in a second, which is a $160 money order. They submit to the state, activate your license. All right? Do it right away. And I'm telling you this, guys, it's so important. I've had a couple of people that I tried to help, and unfortunately, did not happen. One was able to get his license when he was a week away from the expiration date. So here's the thing. You have up to 1 year from completing my course. Okay? Up to 1 year. Do you guys know how fast 1 year goes? Does anybody, like, some of you, if you're over 25, I see all young souls here, but if you're over 25, you know how quick a year goes by. If you're over 30, you know how quicker it goes by, right? I blink my eyes, it's already a new year. That's how fast it goes by, right? So, the first thing you do as soon as you pass the exam, guys, this is my warning, so you guys don't miss it. First thing you do is run to a broker, slap that license there. If you don't like that broker later on, switch. It's only $25. I'm going to show you in a second. Switch. Got it? But place it somewhere. At least you're active. Because if not, guess what's going to happen a year from now? You come back to class, right? If you want to pursue the career, you come back to class, another 75 hours. There's no break here. It's another 75 hours, right? I tell you right now, if you endure the rest of the 75 hours, the jokes are exactly the same. Some of you have been my students before. You know very well the jokes will always be the same. Right? This is just to make sure you guys never come back. That's all it is. All right? So, brutal. I know. So make sure, guys, as soon as you pass, what do? Activate. All right? Let me see. I got a question here. Victoria. I'm not answering you because I can't afford you, you said, right? With that attitude, you're like, can't afford me. All right. It says right here, what is the best way to find a broker who will hire you? In person as a cold interview, a phone call asking for one. In other words, what if you don't know any brokers? What is the best way to get hired by one in order to get activated? Okay. Yeah, you were joking. I got you. I know how it is. See, behind the computer, everybody's comfortable. I would love to see you guys in class. Just kidding. You know what? The previous session proved me that this is actually great, and you guys are proving the same. Because in class, does anybody have any question? And everybody's silent. Here, I'm not even asking if you have questions. I already see them coming through. Anyway, so how do you get to a broker? I mean, the first thing you should ask yourself is, what is your market going to be? Not that you need a broker in that particular town, right? Not that you need it. But if you don't know anybody, the first thing to see is, what is your current market going to be? Where are you going to be active, right? And then you can start looking at brokers in those areas. And yes, you could do cold calls or talk to people that you know, right? And ask them, hey, do you know any broker? Because I'm pretty sure you know somebody that's a salesperson. There's always somebody you know that's a salesperson, right? Ask them, is your broker looking to hire? I mean, our office is always open to interviews. Does that make sense? Every office is open for interviews. Some will have certain requirements, like there are some offices out there where you have to be full-time. Some offices will say part-time is okay, but it's really not our preference. Others will say, if you're not doing commercial, we don't want you, right? If you're not doing residential, we don't want you, because they specialize in certain things. If you're not going to do $1 million houses, then we don't want you. If you're not going to, you see what I'm saying? Some offices specialize in certain types of deals, and it's going to be up to you to find those. What you see is what you get. I'm the same person on the computer. Okay, all right, cool. I know, I've spoken with you on the phone. I was just joking. I'm the same person also. For those of you that know me in person, I'm the same person in the camera as I am in person. And I like to mess with everybody and pick on everybody, especially when I get snide remarks like that saying I was joking, okay? All right, so Courtney says, I'm funnier in person. There you go. Especially when you point at Rishi as being the culprit for that. I see how it is. But that's true, Courtney, I know. All right, so again, going back to the broker thing, find somebody. Usually you try to find somebody that you can relate to. So if you know a salesperson, talk to them first and say how they feel where they are. Is it good? Is it a good environment? Because that is key, all right? Is it a good environment? If so, I would like to come interview with your broker. Simple. If they don't like it, then believe me, a lot of agents are brutally honest about where they work, and they just stay there for a reason. They have deals pending, and if they stop the deal flow in order to switch somewhere else, right, then they might not get paid for the next 6 months or a year, because deals take time. So sometimes that's the only way to get there is asking referrals or references, from other salespeople, people that you know. A cold call, now listen, cold calls are not unprofessional because they want you. Okay? We want you. As a brokerage, we want you. Because, listen, I make a small cut, as a broker, I make a small cut of everything you do. So the more you do, the more small cuts I make. And this concept is very simple. As a broker, I prefer to make 1% out of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. So if I can guide you to make those deals, and I make 1%, let's say, then I've made 100% in a group of 100 people. Got it? So is it unprofessional? No, not at all. Call them. Okay? Yeah, Laz, the more salespeople for a broker, the better. So to answer that, guys, I did speak yesterday about this, and I am going to tell you again. So you guys are asking versus me advertising. I'm not advertising. We are not a recruiting school. It is prohibited, so I'm going to give you the caveat again. It is prohibited for anybody to recruit during the class time, right? For some reason, we have to wait 7 days. Your body needs to cool down, right, before we can actually attack you. So the answer will be always, without being very committal to this, but the answer will be always. Okay? Good people, always. Bad people, never. Okay? Just letting you know. So people with attitude is going to be a problem, Victoria. You can try. I mean, you've spoken to Pedro before, so maybe he's more lenient than I am. You're done with me for the rest of the All right. Nanette says, I think I should go in person to interview the brokers to see. You know what? All right, and this is the last one. I'm going to move forward. But Nanette, yes. Over the phone, you're not going to have the same experience as being there. So I agree with you. Given the circumstances, try to do, and I think a lot of brokers are doing this now, try to do a Zoom call or FaceTime or whatever, because over the phone is like calling 911. You don't know what they're doing on the other side, right? Not to say something else, but you don't know what they're doing on the other side. They could be mocking you as they're hearing you, and then you die, right? So over the phone alone is not enough. I think you need to see people. My broker, so my partner, Pedro, he's a big believer in that, and so am I, that the face-to-face, whether, I just believe whether in person or at least like we're doing here, we're able to communicate in a different way, and I see your expressions, so I know what kind of person you're being to me, right? So I knew Victoria was giving me an attitude, and she still is in the back of her head, but she was smiling, so that means that kind of, okay, maybe she was joking, all right? But that's what it is. Try to face-to-face, very important, all right? So moving forward, guys, we talked about being a salesperson. How about being a broker? Because I'm pretty sure some of you want to collect that 1% out of 100 people, right? Yes, anybody? Great, we got one. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. One. Okay, David's coming in. All right, great. So to become a broker, guys, it's the same requirements. Exactly the same requirements except for these two right here. You need to have served at least 3 years full-time as a licensed salesperson. At least 3 years full-time as a licensed salesperson. Okay? We're going to talk about the experience in a second and what full-time means. The other thing is you need to complete 150 hours of study consisting of 90-hour general broker pre-licensing course, 30-hour pre-licensing course on broker's ethics and agency law and relationships, and then 30-hour course on office management and related topics. All right, very boring. If you guys think this is boring, that one's even more. So I just did one before this whole quarantine, and it's different. It's like talking about ideologies versus rules. Okay, so ideology, how should you run an office? What you should look for, so totally different. But my question now is, and I need participation from all 45 people on the line, please, make sure you answer this. How many hours do you need to become a broker? How many hours do you need to become a broker? All right. 500? Lena, you wrote 500? That's a whole lot of hours. Really, David? 10,000. That's for experience to be like the black belt of real estate. That's what it is. That's different. All right. So here's the answer, guys. Ready? For those of you saying 150, it's incorrect. For those of you saying after this, it's another 150, that is correct. So the total is 225. Guys, my question was very simple. And you need to read into the question. So you need to hear properly and need to read properly. Very important. Because that's how they're going to trick you. I generalized the question. I said, how many hours do you need to become a broker? Right? So the answer is 225. If the question said, right, John, a salesperson, then they're already qualified to 75 hours by saying a salesperson. Does that make sense? So John, a salesperson, right, wants to become a broker. How many hours of education or of study does he need? Well, now the answer is 150. All right? Laz, I see what you did there. Yep. Michelle, I saw Brian smiling and nodding his head. You knew 225 because you listened to him. He better know. I'm just saying. He better know. All right. Here's the thing, guys. They will trick you. I'm going to remind you this constantly. They will trick you because they know you don't pay attention. Right? I said how many hours you need. I didn't say you're a salesperson yet. All right? So pay attention to those little details. Ria goes, I don't like those tricks. Oh yeah, I don't like them either. That's why I'm trying to get you ready for it. I'm trying to be like, if you ever practice martial arts or anything, right? In martial arts or boxing or whatever you want to call it, right? You got to get hit a couple of times to understand what a punch really is, right? That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get you punch you as many times as I can, so that once you get there to the actual fight, right? Call me Mr. Miyagi. There you go. When you get to the actual fight, you guys win. Simple as that. All right. Now, to obtain the referral agent license, right here, referral agent, which now is a salesperson license, and because it's called salesperson license, I also want to let you know that you need to fulfill all the requirements of a salesperson. So yeah, your cousin that wants to refer a business to you and get paid, they have to take the same 75 hours. They have to pass the same exam. They have to do fingerprinting. We're going to talk about that in a second. Activate their license with a broker, just like you, all to be able to refer. But wait, there's more. They also have, and this could be a question and answer if it does show up, they also have to have a certificate stating that the legal restrictions on the brokerage activity of a referral license or a referral agent have been reviewed with the supervising broker. So what we're saying here is, you sat down with me and I told you, all right, Joshua, you want to refer? No problem. Just remember, by signing this, I'm going to apply you as a referral agent. You will not be able to talk about real estate. You will not be able to show houses. You will not be able to prepare contracts. You'll not be able to hold open houses. You'll not be able to market anything. You don't exist in the real estate transaction other than to say hi and to say bye. Thank you for the check. That's all. Everything in between, I do. Does that make sense? So your broker needs to have this signed with you and submitted along with your license that says you're allowed to refer only. The requirements are exactly the same, and the requirements are exactly the same as a salesperson, but all you can do is refer. Erica, really? Hispanics are not having that. Oh my God, I can only hear my cousins saying, I'm not giving you anything if you don't share the cash. It's not only the Hispanics. I think everybody can raise their hand right now and know that their family is like that, right? There you go. Your cousins will say, tomorrow's like, nope, my family's good. They will give me leads, right? You were shaking your head, so I don't know if that, okay. I have yet to find one that actually says, no, my people, no worries. They'll send me leads all day long for free. And I'm like, sure. Give it a try once you're licensed. Mauricio, just tell me you got them for Christmas. Good. Do you even celebrate Christmas? I'm just saying. I got you for Christmas. I don't know what that is. All right. That's it. They will remember. If they're like my family, they will remember. Whether it's this Christmas, next Christmas, they'll remind you every single Christmas. Remember back in 1981 when I gave you that deal? They will remind you. Give them a couple of drinks, you'll see what happens. All right, here's the thing. Can you change your status from salesperson to referral or from referral to salesperson? The answer is yes. It's going to cost you $50 to change. Depending on how long you've been a referral, it might actually cost you another extra amount of money to reinstate, all right, into a salesperson. But your broker will be able to tell you that. Next thing we got here. You guys remember I said that every rule has what? Exceptions or exemptions, right? So here's the thing. To be licensed, there are some exemptions. The first one is experience requirement. And I want you guys to write where it says experience requirement, I want you to write 3 years full time. Okay? If you cannot write in your PDF, don't worry about it. By the way, guys, I just downloaded recently this, instead of Adobe PDF, it's called Drawboard PDF. that allows me to do these cool things. That's what I'm using here to do this quick effects and whatever. It's really cool. Lets you write on your PDF. So I'm gonna put it here as a resource if you guys want. Yep, I got you, Rhea, on the way. All right, there you go. So drawboard PDF, it's free, which is the best part, because if it's free, it's definitely for me. Got it. So that's what I'm using here to do this. Obviously I have a tablet here. If you don't have a tablet, it still allows you to type into it, which is great. Give you all these notes. But if not, then definitely put on your notebook, wherever you're taking notes. Experience requirement exception is based on the 3 years to become a broker, right? The 3 years to become a broker or broker salesperson. I'm going to talk about the experience in a second. What I want you to notice is this, is that the experience requirement, these 3 years, can be, it doesn't say will be, there's no guarantee here. They can be waived, okay, for an honorably discharged war veteran with a service-connected wound or disability. So, if you are a veteran that qualifies, right? If you are a veteran, what they're saying is you can skip the whole 3 years. You become a salesperson, 75 hours. Then you do immediately your 150 hours and take the exam to become a broker. And guess what? In 3 to 4 months, you can be a broker. Just don't become a broker of record. That's all I got to say. Because if you have no experience, how are you going to help the people? How are you going to help your agents when you don't know anything? You got it? So, can you bypass the whole thing? The answer is yes. If you're honorably discharged war veteran with a service-connected wound or disability. Okay? Remember that. That's the experience requirement, the 3 years. But then, commission says, well, since we can waive experience, we can also waive fees. Okay, so license and renewal fees for these veterans are free forever. Okay? The other thing, commission may agree, again, may. Is it a guarantee that this will happen? No. So look closely at how it's presented to you. The questions are the same thing. It's either says may or it says can. Okay? May or can. Is that guaranteed? No. So they may agree to waive the education requirements. What is the education requirement? Well, the 75 hours. Right? If you guys want to write, you can write here where it says education. You can write 75 hours or the 150 hours. This is the education part of it, the course that you're taking right now. Okay? I'll address that in a second, David. All right. So the commission may agree to waive the education requirement for who? A licensed broker from another state. If you're licensed in another state, you might be able to skip a few of the hours or all of the hours. You just have to apply to the Real Estate Commission, get a letter from the Real Estate Commission, bring it to me or forward it to me, and we would cut your hours into half or all of it, right? Depending on what they've given you. Next page. It says someone previously licensed as a New Jersey broker within the past 5 years. So let's say you were a broker or a broker salesperson in the past 5 years, but then, I don't know, you lost it. Like you decided to deactivate your license, you close your business, and then you decide to come back into the business. If it's within the past 5 years that you did this, then you can just become a salesperson versus going through class again. Someone who has taken equivalent courses in college. So as long as you had real estate in college, you might be able to bypass a few of these hours. Okay? New Jersey attorneys, as we mentioned earlier. And in some cases, certain applicants who took the equivalent pre-licensing course in another state. So what does that mean? It means, let's say you're coming from Pennsylvania. The real estate commission might say, okay, you did your course there, your pre-licensing course, you didn't complete. We're going to honor some or all of the hours that you just did in Pennsylvania. Okay? There's no guarantee to this because the state of New Jersey has no reciprocity, as I'll talk about in a second. Okay? Let me address two questions here. David, are there any benefits to being a broker salesperson or versus a regular salesperson? Is the commission the same? And my answer is always going to be depends on your broker. Okay? Because as I said yesterday, as a broker, I might look at you and say, well, David is a broker salesperson. I need to expand my business. Let me offer him to open another office. He becomes now the managing broker at that office. Does that make sense? At that point, David, I'm going to increase your commission because you're managing the office. Can you be a broker salesperson and be within my office here and have a higher commission? Yeah. I might ask you again to have also certain responsibilities and duties. But everything depends on your broker. Some brokers really don't care because they know I'm going to pay you more now, but then one day you decide to open your own office and you leave. So what's the benefit to me? Because you became a broker? You understand? So every broker of record has their own policy and their own mentality, and I cannot control that or tell you which way it's going to be. Okay? But is there any benefit? Yeah, you're halfway done. By having your broker salesperson, at any time you want to open your own office, you can. Simple. All right, Jeff, classes, are there any day classes? As of right now, no. Only because I teach during the day, I teach my kids, right? And then at night, I teach somebody else's kids' parents. So it is tough during the day. I'm waiting for school to be over. So I think it's at the end of this month, June 26th or something like that. So at the end of this month, school will be over, and then maybe for July I'll have day classes. We'll see how that goes, because I also have to figure out a place to put them in. We already bought some small cages, and hopefully they'll fit, and I'll be able to come here teach in the morning. So joking on the cages before you guys report me. Okay, Victoria? I see the smirk. So, no day classes yet. What we're going to do, Jeff, is this is ongoing. It's Monday through Friday. What we're going to do is, as soon as we finish this session, I'll start a new one. So whatever you miss, if you can make it up in those, great. If not, then the next session is July 6th. So by then, I should know if I'm doing a morning class or not, and you'll be able to jump in and out on that one, okay? All right. I'm going to skip that 25-year note right there. Homeschooling is tough. Kudos to you. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate it. Jeff. See, Jeff made a nice comment. Make sure there's enough food in all the cages. See? All right. Oh, great question. Blas, you're still a kid? Hopefully we'll all be kids until we die, because that's the only way we can really live through this life. You know, got to be kids. Ria says, if we miss an evening class, how can we make up that class? So, first of all, you need to complete 90% of the hours. So, if you miss one day or if you miss 2 days, depending on which chapter it is, right? If you miss 2 days, let's say, you don't need to make that up. And the chapters are available in your student portal. So you'll be able to review right there and then. I recommend that you don't miss anything because live is totally different than replay. Live, we get to interact, and any questions you have, I can address it right away, as I'm doing right now. I'm just ignoring a few comments, but other than that, I'm addressing it right now. So make sure you don't miss anything. If you do have to miss, let me know which chapter is going to be that you're going to miss, which day, and I'll give you an idea of what we can do regarding that, okay? So this goes for everybody. Next. All right, criminals. Here's the thing. Criminals. What are you smiling at, Jeff? I said criminals. I didn't say Jeff. He's smiling already. All right. So, criminals. Here's the thing. Anybody that has been issued the license will not be issued to anyone convicted within the preceding 5 years of forgery, burglary, robbery, any theft other than shoplifting, because shoplifting is okay according to them, criminal conspiracy to defraud, or any like offense. So if you've been, I know it's the way I said, I do it on purpose, Jeff. You know that. So here's the thing. I'm not calling anybody a criminal, okay? I've been arrested too, so just so you guys know. So I am a criminal. I'm putting it out there. I'll be the first one. This is like an AA meeting. Some people have been in the DCPP, so criminals. I'm just saying. I'm just messing with you. So here's the thing. Courtney, I remember that story. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that story right now. So here's the thing. It says right here, if you were convicted, I need you guys to pay attention to this because the question will trick you. Convicted. One thing is being arrested. Another thing is being convicted. Do you guys know what's the difference? Okay? Write it down. Those of you that know the difference, now I know you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Mauricio goes like, yeah, unfortunately. All right. So I'm proven guilty. Absolutely. So that's when the initial charge comes. It's not from when you're in jail or from when you're released. It's when you're convicted of the crime. So there's a decision made, proven guilty, right? And then you have to serve your sentence. So the 5 years is not from when you got arrested. The 5 years is from when you're proven guilty. So if it took 2 years to get a conviction, during those 2 years, so you guys know, we're going to go over this in a little bit. During those 2 years, your license will be suspended. Just letting you know. During those 2 years, your license will be suspended. If you're convicted, then your license is revoked. If you've been convicted of any of these, so forgery, right? Burglary, robbery, any theft other than shoplifting, criminal conspiracy, or so on, if you're convicted, then you have to wait 5 years and 1 day before you can actually apply for a license. And you have to have a good explanation to the Real Estate Commission of why. And I've helped a few people with this, where they had convictions. For me, it's easy because, again, I've been through a lot of my life as well. And this is a great program. Employers don't want you if you have a criminal record. Here's like a second chance program because you are the employer. You employ yourself into this. You're independent, right? So as long as the Real Estate Commission gives you the okay, I will help you by preparing a simple letter which says mainly, I was young, dumb, and stupid. That's pretty much what it says. My life has changed since. And if you can prove that it's been a long time and your life has really changed and you're trying to better yourself, this is your opportunity to change your life, and real estate can give you that, right? Then they usually will give you the okay. All right, simple as that. So if you know anybody, here comes Courtney, right? If you know anybody asking, it's always for a friend. Just letting you guys know. When somebody says asking for a friend, you really know who it is. Just saying. She says, if someone has a gun charge, thank God we're virtual, and it has been longer than 5 years, they can go to school for real estate. Yeah. All right, here's the thing. The cool thing is, it says forgery. So after 5 years, what can you guys do? You can prepare contracts. I'll address that in yours in a second. You can prepare contracts because forgery is no longer a problem. You can get into people's homes and take pictures of it because burglary is no longer a problem. You can wipe them clean. It's an open house, right? Wipe them clean because robbery is no longer a problem, right? And if it's shoplifting, like it's a commercial business, it's okay. As long as it's not any other theft, you're okay to shoplift. So they're giving you the strict instructions of what you can and cannot do. It doesn't talk about murder. It says any like offense. It doesn't talk about murder. It doesn't talk about gun charges. Nothing. So, I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I do know that I have one person on the line that was referred by somebody else, not my student, but was referred to real estate by somebody else, and that somebody else had a murder charge. So I think anything is possible into the real estate. Hopefully, David's laughing. Hopefully, the real estate commission will block you if you did commit murder or have a gun charge, depending on the charge. Hopefully they will, but I'm just letting you know that everything is possible based on what I just told you. True story, by the way. Somebody really told me, and she is here in the chat, really told me a few years ago, well, I have this friend that got me into real estate. You were talking about the criminals and this and that 5 years. How about murder? She was charged with murder, and she's a realtor. I'm like, Real estate commission was sleeping on that one. What do you want me to say? So gun charge, you might fly, Courtney. All right, next. Real quick. New Jersey does not recognize licenses issued in any other states. No reciprocity. We don't like them, and they don't like us. You can have a license in New York. That doesn't mean you can activate a license in New Jersey. You can have a license in New Jersey, and New York says, nope, you're not coming here. So what I'm saying here is, it's not that you won't be able to have a license in another state, or somebody in another state won't be able to have a license here. What I'm saying is, when it comes to reciprocity, this word right here, if you get your license in New York, you have immediate reciprocity, I think, with 13 states. That means you can contact that particular state, like jumping over Jersey, you have PA, that allows it. Not Jersey, but PA allows it for you to just activate your license. Or your license in New York, okay, you can be licensed in Pennsylvania. Jersey says no. If you want to be licensed in Jersey, you have to come through a 75-hour course in class. This is not normal, as you guys already know, the online. But you have to go through a 75-hour course in class, pass the school exam, get a certificate, pass the state exam, and also make sure you're sued in this state. So we're gonna go over that in a second as well. Can you have more than one state license at a time? My friend, you can have... Jeff, really? You can have a license in every single state. In the next chapter, I'm going to tell you that you can only be licensed in New Jersey with one broker at a time. But nothing stops you from being licensed in 50 states or in 200 and something countries. You can do it. Me personally, I don't think it's worth having a license in another state unless I spend a considerable time there. So if you spend 6 months here and 6 months in Florida, let's say, yeah, get your Florida license, because then you're doing business there. If you never go there, then I already told you earlier, you can refer. Heck, within Jersey I refer. Imagine another state? I'm not driving there or flying there. Do you guys understand? So, get a referral. Sorry, Shakia. She's like, I'm licensed in Maryland. All right, I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's not worth it, right? Because if you don't spend considerable time in there, then all you're going to do is refer regardless. And if you're licensed there and it's close by and you want to drive there or take a couple of days off, a couple of weeks off to go there and make a deal, why not? I'm not saying anything wrong with that. At one point, I was trying to get a license in every single state, no problem. As an instructor, I will, right? I'm working on that. But as a realtor, I think, like for instance, I refer to New York. I could have done the deal in New York and make $100,000 commission, but if I make $30,000 or $40,000 without having to enter New York, then I'm winning. Does that make sense? I don't have the hassle of those 3 to 4 months back and forth, right? I'm winning. I make less, but I don't have to work for it. I just made a referral. Think about it. Uh, Shakia says I'm right. Thank you. After you destroyed me with I'm licensed in Maryland. Uh, Steph, can you have both sales license and referral license? Your salesperson license is also a referral license. So as a salesperson, you can do whatever you want. You can either do the deal yourself or refer a deal. Okay? Is there a base referral fee across the board or depend? Okay, so the average commission for referrals is around 25%, but you guys are going to learn a little bit. Commissions are negotiable. Everything is negotiable. Somebody says 25, you say 35. If we land on 30, great. Somebody says 6% commission, you say 10% commission. If we land on 7 or 8, great. Does that make sense? So everything is negotiable. All right. Giselle, everything in writing. You want to get paid? In writing. Make sure it's in writing. Okay? All right, guys. So required experience to become a broker. And we're almost done with this chapter. I'm going to give you a break, and then the next chapter is a shorter one, but I'll give you a break in a second. Especially if anybody else wants to get another slice of watermelon. I'm just saying in a little bit. Okay? Required experience. A candidate for a broker's license. So if you want to become a broker, you need some type of experience, right? And I already addressed before that the experience requirement is right here, 3 years. Right? Didn't I say that before? That it could be waived for veterans? It's 3 years. That's the experience requirement. But look what it says. You must have been continuously employed on a full-time basis as a real estate salesperson. Full-time basis. And that's what a lot of people question. What is full-time? Because as a salesperson, you're independent. There's no time clock, right? There's no sign-in sheets. There's no biometrics. There's no app that says start work, stop work, right? There's nothing like that. So how will you be able to define yourself as a full-time employee, right? A full-time salesperson, I'm sorry. How will you be able to define that? So guys, the best way to answer that is your broker. Your broker has to vouch. So at the end of the 3 years, if you apply for your license, the broker has to sign a broker experience requirement form that the broker certifies that you've had the 3 years of experience, right? Or technically what they say is from this period to this period, they worked with me. So I certify during that time they were employed on a full-time basis, no more than, and not aware of them being employed elsewhere. This is the other requirement. They were not employed elsewhere except on a part-time basis for no more than 25 hours. So to the best of my knowledge, as a broker, they have not worked anywhere else for more than 25 hours. So they have to sign this document that you're going to submit to the Real Estate Commission in order to become a broker. Even to take the exam, you need this. You guys got it? So what is the 3-year experience? You worked 40 hours between the hours of 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. and you worked nowhere else except on a part-time basis for no more than 25 hours a week, guys. Right here, 25 hours a week is one of the answers in the school or state exam. Okay, so you did not work more than 25 hours a week. Because they understand, guys, this is a commission-based business. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take 1 year. All they're saying is, if you're a full-time employee, then how can you be a full-time salesperson? That's all they're saying. But they do understand you need to make money, so they allow you to have a part-time right there. Got it? Thumbs up? Great. Time limit on the application. I already explained this to you guys. As soon as you pass the school exam, I give you a certificate, and that certificate gives you 1 year to activate your license. Okay? So what is the 1 year? You have 1 year to pass the state exam and activate your license from the moment you passed our exam and received the certificate, okay? So our exam is pretty much the real deal. Without ours, you can't go anywhere. Very, very important. That's where you messed up. Yeah. Not only you. Believe me, not only you. So, next thing, non-residents. Can somebody in California have a Jersey license? Tell me in the chat. Can they have a Jersey license? Yeah, absolutely. We just talked about this, right? The thing is, not only do they have to qualify in the usual way, which is the 75 hours, right? They also have to, and this could be the answer, that's why it's in green, they also have to consent to be sued in this state, in the state of New Jersey. Why? Because if you're doing business here, we're not going to put a lawsuit in California and force the defendants to go to California. I mean, the plaintiffs to go to California. If you screw up, you're answering here. We're suing you and your broker in New Jersey. Okay? So, if you want to have a license in New Jersey, usual way, 75 hours. Luckily, now we're blessed with an online class, so you don't have to come and fly all the way here or drive here, right? So you can do online. But once you file your application, you must consent to be sued in this state. And most of the states have the same law. If you're a non-resident agent or salesperson, most of the states have a similar law that require you to consent to be sued in that particular state. Can a corporation be licensed? Give me those answers. Can a corporation be licensed? Are you guys sure? You're saying yes, yes, yes? Of course, because it says can be granted. I know you can read. Great. But yes, there's just one thing that a corporation needs to have. Right here. One of the officers must hold a broker's license. Notice it does not say broker salesperson, it says broker's license. Why? Because every company must have one broker that's responsible for everybody. What do we call that broker? Write it down, please. What do we call that broker? Broker of record. Perfectly. Yes. Just like me and my partner. Absolutely. He is the broker of record because there can only be one broker of record. And I'm like, great. I don't have that responsibility. Right? He's my partner here in the school. I'm the director of the school. Right? So he doesn't have that responsibility. If you guys sue anybody, you're going to sue me, not him. I'm the one that gets hit with everything. And the good thing is that I disclose everything up front. So if you ever sue me, I'm just letting you know it's on record, because I always record my classes even when it's here. And I'm safe, just saying. Plus, I know the boys and the girls at the Real Estate Commission, so you have no chance. I'm just kidding, okay? I'm not like that. But we know people that talk like this, right? I know those people. and you decide to join forces. So Victoria, you want to know how to get a broker? Easy. Talk to the people here, see which one is a veteran, right? Get them to bypass the whole system. You guys partner up, open up your own company, and boom, there you go. Only one of you must be the broker, right? There's a lot of ways to do this. Next, Leslie's smiling like, yeah, I could do this, right? Examination, we're gonna skip. It's tough. I got two Leslies here, so sometimes it gets tough. So I'm gonna say Leslie Andrade and Leslie Brandon when it comes to it, okay? Leslie 1 and 2. Leslie A and Leslie B. There you go. You guys okay with that? Leslie B is like, no, I'm the only Leslie. Oh, she gave me a thumbs up. All right, cool. I thought she was going to kick the other Leslie out of here. All right, next. Real quick, guys, very important. Here's what I want you to do here. Temporary license. I want you to write broker, because it's a temporary broker's license. Temporary broker's license. Now, what is a temporary broker's license? Very simple. If a broker dies or becomes mentally or physically incapacitated, right? It could happen, right? People die all the time. It's natural, hopefully. Or become mentally or physically incapacitated. Then somebody needs to step up, right? The thing is, only somebody with the 3 years experience can apply for this temporary license. So if there's no other brokers in the office, like broker salespeople, then you, the one with 3 years experience, right, can step up and say, hey, I'm applying for the temporary license. Now, why would you do that? Why would you apply for a temporary license? Because without a broker, you cannot carry on transactions already in progress. So that means, let's say, Dimitar, you are the broker. I'm looking at you right here in the corner. So you are the broker of record. So you're responsible for paying everybody, right? So guys, if he becomes mentally or physically incapacitated, he's smiling like, and I've just made him mentally or physically incapacitated. He's like, yeah, I'm the broker. What? Mentally or physically incapacitated? Yes, sorry. You will be very healthy in a second, okay? You're welcome. So, so let's say something happens to him. Who's going to pay you guys? He was the broker, right? At least I didn't kill you yet. So he was the broker. He was becomes mentally or physically incapacitated. Who's going to pay you guys? You need to have a sponsoring broker. You need to have somebody to pay you, because only the broker can pay you, right? So that's when this temporary license comes in. You got it? For you to get paid, somebody needs to step up and say, I'll take over temporarily. Now, if you want to become the broker of record, if you want to proceed as a broker of record, then you have to complete everything within a year. And what is everything within a year? 150-hour broker's course, right? And you have to pass the state examination, apply to become the broker, and you take over. Jessiel, no, you don't have to have 3 years in the same company. You have to have 3 years in total. So your previous broker has to sign, and your current broker has to sign, showing that you have experience. Now, in this scenario, it's tough. It's very tough, because if you're a broker, so if Dimitar became mentally or physically incapacitated, how's he going to sign? Yes, Jessiel has experience. All right, it's tough. What about if they don't want to? They have to, except in this scenario, but they have to. Actually, the broker's experience form, it says clearly they have 5 days to complete the form and return to you. They have to. They cannot. What they can do is vouch for you or not. They can say that they don't feel that you're fit to be a broker, right? If you're not. If that's not true, if you are a person that's fit to be a broker, you can always dispute whatever they wrote to the Real Estate Commission. Now you have to get witnesses and a bunch of other ways to show that you do have the experience and that you are a person that should be qualified to lead an office. Okay? All right. We got that. Continuous education. Guys, pay close attention to this one because not only for state exam, but in real life, you're going to deal with this every 2 years. So continuous education or CE credits have to be completed every 2 years for all licenses except for the referral licenses. Okay? So all licenses must do the CE credits every 2 years, and those CE credits must have 12 hours of approved CE credits. So if you guys see here, the required courses start with at least 2 hours on ethics, because every 2 years we have to remind you what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. Every 2 years. Sucks, doesn't it? It should be actually every 6 months, but 2 years, that's what they decided. And these have to be completed on or before April 30th of the renewal year. So when does your license expire? June 30th of odd number years, right? So at the end of that day, your license expires. If you don't renew it, it expired, right? But they're saying that you have to complete this before April 30th. Because yesterday I told you guys that for insurance, for instance, it's based on anniversary, right? But in real estate, every single license renews on the same day. So they want to make sure that if you complete within May 1st and June 30th, you will be assessed with a $200 fee, right? If you do before that, they have enough time to enter and verify all the documentation and give you the okay to renew your license. If you do it within May 1st and June 30th, there's extra work for them to see all the licenses, and they do charge you $200 fee extra. If you don't renew, if you fail to renew your license, okay, pay attention to this. If you fail to renew your license for 2 consecutive years, so 2 years without renewing the license, what happens to your license? Becomes void. If you want to have your license again, what must you do? Come back to my class, listen to the same jokes, 75 hours, pass an exam, and so on. Yep. Absolutely. Next. By the way, life happens, guys. Life happens. So I totally understand what it is to not be able sometimes to either renew the license or even complete the course. So just a quick reminder to all of you, you have up to 1 year to complete this course. So if anything happens, you don't have to pay again, okay? Within a year, just come back and you can complete the hours. Try to do everything right now, get it out the way, because it's the perfect time. Some of you are actually at home due to the quarantine. Some of you are less hours. Take advantage now. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, but get it out of the way. If something happens, I'm just saying that we're here for another year, okay? License fees. To activate your license, you need to come up with a $160 check or money order, right? That's to activate the license. That's separate from paying the school. That's separate from the state exam I'm going to talk about in a second. And that is separate from fingerprinting, which I'm also going to talk about in a second. Okay? It's just a few fees, guys. It's not like end of the world. Because if you're going to open up your own business, I guarantee it's going to cost a lot more. If you have to rent something, if you have to do the marketing yourself, it's going to cost a lot more. But here it's $160 to the state of New Jersey. And that includes application, criminal history record check, and a fee that goes to the Real Estate Guarantee Fund, which, again, I'm going to talk in a second. Guess how much it costs to become a referral agent? Same cost. Your cousin wants to refer? No problem. 75 hours, $160 to activate. Same thing. To become a broker, it costs $270 to become a broker of record. Becoming a broker of record, you need to open your own office. So another $270 to activate your company. So it's a total of $540 to activate your company if you become the broker of record. If you're becoming a broker salesperson, then it's only $270. All right. Renewal fees. How much you have to pay to renew? Every 2 years, you pay $100 if you're a salesperson or a referral agent, and you pay $200 if you are a broker. So brokers always pay a little bit more. Let's go to the next page. So guys, we're on page 5. Feels like we've been here forever, right? Page 5. Some of you are yawning already. I'm giving you a break in a second. Relax. Or maybe you're too relaxed. All right. It says right here, a broker that goes out of business. This might be a question. If they go out of business, what must they do? They'll give you 4 options. They must do all of these except, or none of these except. So that's how they prepared their questions for you. Give you 4 options, right? Escrow account. They have to close the escrow account. They have to remove signs, notify all the clients, and provide the real estate commission with a name and address where records will be available for, remember this number, 6 years. Available for 6 years. Remember that number. We're going to talk about it several times throughout the book. This, if you have the physical book, you don't have to highlight. I just have it highlighted to talk about it again. You already know to activate your license, you need to complete 75 hours, complete the state licensing examination, get a score report, submit signed by the broker to the real estate commission. I already told you with $160 payable to the state treasurer of New Jersey, and complete the fingerprinting process and consent to criminal history record check. All right. Now, this whole thing, ignore. This whole section, you can ignore, because I created a video for you guys in the student portal that says how to schedule your fingerprinting. And I'm telling you to ignore because this link is no longer available. Okay? This link is no longer available, so it's incorrect information. And the fee is $66.05, I think. All right? And Erica, yes, they do expire. Because from last year till now, your fingerprints have not changed, but how many crimes did you commit? Right? Did you get together with Courtney and her gun? Just saying. All right? We don't know. We don't know. So, just saying. All right? Next. I also put this in your student portal, how to schedule your exam. So I'm going to skip all this for now, real quick, but it's PSI services. Here it shows places that you can go to take the exam. It's $45, and you have up to 4 hours to complete the exam. So I have a video for that. I'm just going to skip it right now, okay? What you should bring. I also talk about it in that video, but so you guys remember right now is, or if you guys know right now is, 2 forms of ID, and only one, or at least one, must be a government issued photo ID. Okay? In the student portal, all the way at the bottom. So if you guys notice, I have everything by chapter. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. After chapter 22, it says access student resources. All right? That's where these things are. Both the book, the Quizlets, the schedule your fingerprinting, test yourself, right? Schedule the state exam. Everything is there. Quick videos explaining how to do it. The examination. You're asked to arrive at least 30 minutes before the scheduled appointment, because you have to check if the information is correct, whatever's there, right? You have to check your name is correct. Because if you made a mistake when you provided that information to us, right, and in the video I say this as well, if you made a mistake, you gave me the wrong name or entered incorrectly, it has to match your ID. So if you entered something incorrectly, that's the name that is going to go on the license. And you cannot work with a wrong name. So it's going to take a couple of months to correct the issue. You have to submit your birth certificate. You have to show your IDs. You have to prove that you are who who you say you are, and that information on the license is incorrect. So 30 minutes before, you schedule for 9, be there 8:30. So you can get there, review information before starting. Remember, there's more people taking the exam. So if you get there at 9 because you're scheduled at 9, but you only get seen at 9:20, the proctor has the right to say, go home. You're not taking the exam today. Because you were scheduled from 9, and it's a 4 hours, right? So from 9 to 1, that's your schedule. If you're starting at 9:20, right, then you would then end at 1:20, and I have somebody else coming in at that time. Are you guys understanding? So you might miss your shot. Make sure you're there before. Give yourself plenty of time to get there. There's 80 general real estate questions. Approximately 10% of them are math, and 30 questions are specific to New Jersey. So the majority is general real estate. The passing grade is 70%, and 70% means 77 correct answers. All right? Some people tell me, oh, Bruno, you told me it was 70%. I had 76. No. If there's 110 questions, 70% of 110 is 77 correct answers. You guys got it? The report tells you not a percentage, but how many answers you had correct. So, and by the way, it sucks when you miss by 1. All right? Some people give me the reports 76. I'm like, yeah, it sucks by 1. Right? But now you know where you at, go at it. Right? Very important. It says right here, after successful completion of the state examination, and the sponsoring broker will notify the state that you're now working with them. Right? What you need to know is that you can only begin working as soon as your name shows up in the licensee name search. So just because you submit your application doesn't mean that you can start working. Okay? You can start training. You can start showing houses with your broker or with somebody that's licensed. But you cannot prepare contracts. You cannot talk about the real estate. You can just listen. You can be a shadow until your name is active. Does that make sense? So nothing's stopping you from starting. It's just not under your name. As soon as your license is active, all contracts can go under your name. We already talked about CE credit, so we're going to skip this. And we're going to go to guarantee funds. All right? 10 more minutes, and I'll give you a quick break. Then we'll jump to chapter 2. It's really short. Guarantee funds. So the guarantee fund was established to protect the public who suffered a monetary loss due to the wrongdoing in the real estate transaction by a licensed broker, salesperson, or, you guys remember the assistant that said they're selling because of a divorce? Unlicensed employee of a broker. You got it? So if your assistant screws up, yep, you can get sued, right? So the party who wants to recover monies, they must first obtain a court judgment. This could be a question in a state or school exam. They must first obtain a court judgment naming the real estate commission as a party to the suit. And a criminal claim must also be filed against you. All right? By the way, don't quit today, okay? Because it gets easier. Tomorrow I'm going to show you that you have any insurance to protect you, okay? So some people are like, oh, wait a minute. Lawsuits? I don't know if I want this. All right. The maximum payment. So if they do pay, the maximum payment is $20,000 per offense. And here's a question that might be in the state exam. Once they pay the fund, once they pay, very important, your license is revoked until the fund is reimbursed with interest. Your license is revoked until the fund is reimbursed with interest. Okay? There's 4 different answers. One might say that your license is revoked for 5 years. Another one might say the license is suspended until you pay back. No, it's not suspended. It's revoked. There's 2 different things here. Suspension and revocation. Suspension is your license is inactive. Okay? revocation is you're not licensed at all. Okay? They'll block you altogether. And this is until the fund is reimbursed with interest. Okay? Yes, Jeff, you can get sued just for breathing heavy in someone's direction. I don't know what you've been doing. I haven't spoken to you in a couple of years, but don't breathe into people's directions like directly to them and heavy breathing. I mean, that's weird. Breathing heavy? Anyway, all right. Just saying, people go into different industries and this is what they come out with. All right, interstate property. Guys, what does interstate mean? Interstate, because it says interstate, it's out of state. Okay, it says right here, right at the bottom. Out of state land. So every time you see the word interstate, that means somebody's advertising property that's not in your state. Okay? So the state of New Jersey says, if you're advertising property that's not here, okay, then it falls under the Real Estate Sales Full Disclosure Act, which is intended to protect the public from unscrupulous developers, marketers from undue sales pressure. There's a lot of people in recent years, well, several years, but this is recent laws. A lot of people in recent years that said, hey, come down to Florida, paradise, right? And they were advertising specifically to certain groups in their own language. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. And when people got down there, they were getting dirt. The properties were not built yet. What they were advertising was pre-construction prices, right? So if you intend to advertise to New Jersey residents, they say you have to register with the Bureau of Subdivided Land Sales Control, right? Just to make sure that you present your prospectus of what you're trying to advertise, what the marketing is, what forms of marketing, who are you targeting, and so on. So this doesn't happen again. Also, we're going to talk about that later on and tomorrow and throughout the next few chapters, that in New Jersey you have 3 business days to cancel a contract. But if it's an interstate property, they give you up to 7 calendar days to cancel that contract. Okay? Guys, in the resources, there's a New Jersey timeline. So I added all this for you as well. I created all the timelines, a lot of headache putting it together, but it's worth it. It shows the 3 business days, the 5 business days, the 10 calendar days. All that stuff is there to help you out. And the fines as well that we're going to go over tomorrow and on Thursday. So everything is there. Make sure you get there and download that PDF and study it well. Okay? Next page, page 7. And Brian, you were complaining about page 5, so I just want to let you know right now. Page 7 is where we have summary. So that means we're almost done. So yeah, we were only 2 pages away from the end. Going back to this. Guys, right above rental referral agencies on page 7, I was just telling you that out-of-state marketers were marketing to New Jersey residents in their own language. So they were targeting particular groups of people. But that was just a marketing piece. The contracts and the follow-ups all came in English. And these people did not understand what it was said there. But they were so hyped up. You know how it is, right? We see the media. We see how the marketing happens. People get hyped up and decide to, oh, let's jump. Let's jump right on board right now, right? Right? You go to McDonald's and they go like, hey, would you like the fries and the Coke for an extra $1? Right? And you're going to say no. I mean, even if you don't want it, it's just an extra $1. They manipulate you, marketing-wise, into buying it. Here's the same thing. So they reached out to these people, to these groups, in such a way that they're buying in bulk. They're buying these properties, pre-construction. What they say now, again, this is a recent New Jersey law, is that if you advertise in a language other than English, right here, other than English, then subsequent forms of advertising must be made available to the purchasers in the same language as the original advertisement. So if you start in Spanish, continue in Spanish. You start in French, continue in French. You start in Chinese, continue in Chinese. Does that make sense? Because people need to understand what they're signing. Right? So that's for interstate properties. And how many days, guys, real quick, send me in the chat. How many days do we have to cancel these properties that are out of state? Nope. Yes? Nope. Okay. You guys need to understand the difference between calendar and business days. Do not just write 7, because 7 could mean a lot of things. Okay? In this case, 7 calendar days. Okay? If it's New Jersey properties, 3 business days. And we're going to have to define, that's why I always ask these questions. We're going to have to be able to define exactly what type of days they are. Again, in the New Jersey timelines, the PDF I gave you, it shows clearly what is business days, what is calendar days. But get to it. All right, to finalize, give you guys a quick break and myself a quick break so I can get more water, a refill. Rental referral agencies. We're going to repeat this on chapter 12, but every person that's helping somebody rent is participating in the real estate transaction. And how did we start this chapter? We started this chapter with saying that anyone who takes part in the real estate transaction for another person, for a fee, commission, or valuable consideration, must have a real estate license, right? That's how we started. This is a real estate transaction, so you must have a license and a contract, a written contract. All right, for those of you listening, because I have somebody that's licensed listening, for those of you listening, a written contract, even if it's, written contract, even for rentals, okay? And this contract, which is so important, must specify what services are to be performed. What are you going to do for them? What fees are going to be charged? The date and term of the contracts, like how long are you going to represent me, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to charge? How long are you going to represent me? And a refund policy, if any. I just received a message. And yes, I'm talking about you. All right. When the hat fits, you know, or the shoe fits, whatever. He was listening. All right, so here we go. And a refund policy. You guys got it? Rentals. I'm sure you guys know a lot of people that are involved in rentals. They don't even have a license and they're collecting fees. All right? Illegal. If you expect to get paid, you need to have a license. You guys got it? Good? All right. Just for everybody else, not for Brian, this is the best part and most favorite part of every student in each chapter. It's called summary. That means we ended this chapter and we're going to transition to the next chapter, okay? So guys, give me a quick 5 minute, 5 minutes. So it's 8:13, 8:18. I am back with the new chapter, okay? If you need to go to the bathroom, go now. Get water, get coffee, get the watermelon, get the chicken, get whatever you need to get it now. Run.